guys, I'm trying to remember. I think I have the details of a handicapping system that I saw a fair amount when I was living in Omaha and a fair amount when I was living in Seattle, and haven't seen it since. Maybe it's died off. Maybe it was just a regional thing. Not entirely sure, but it was for. Well, I saw it for one pocket in a street pool. Um, when I saw it for one pocket, I barely played one pocket, and I don't think I ever used this system. Um, in a street pool, we used it mainly as like a practice thing, but it it was some number of balls, and then you have to stop. One and stop, two and stop, three and stop, or like one and done, two and done. I forget exactly, what the terminology was, but the gist was if I'm playing a better player than me in one pocket, the current method would be, he gives me 9-8 or 10-8 or something like that, where he has to make more balls than I do, and that's by far. I mean, that's what you see everywhere in all the gambling and all that. But back then, at least where I was at, I saw a lot. Well, I saw a lot of that, and I also saw a lot of where the better player can't run 8 balls. He's not allowed to run 8 balls. He's playing like four and done. So he can shoot 4 balls if he gets an opportunity. He can make four, but he can't make that fifth. This fourth ball has to be a two-way shot. It has to play safe. And then let's see if I can describe this. Say, if I need one ball, or I'm sorry, my limit is one ball, and that's my pocket. I can make this one ball in theory on a good night, right? I can make this one ball, but I'm not allowed to play any shape or anything. You just got to be just a two-way shot. So, and even though I just made a shot, my inning is done because I hit my limit, and now my opponent comes up. Maybe he's got a limit of his own. Maybe he has no limit. Don't know if I'm totally making sense. This is something I've just been thinking about. That I like the idea. I like it not to necessarily replace the whole, 10-8 in the break stuff that this handicap they use for handicapping one pocket now, but an additional way to maybe do it. And I especially like the idea of it for practice. If I'm playing somebody, and let's say I'm giving him 10-8. So let's say I'm a better player, I'm giving him 10-8. I mean, what I'm going to do is, once I get an opportunity, I'm going to try to run 10 balls. An awful lot of times, before he gets to his 8. He's going to try to run 8 balls when he gets an opportunity. It's one pocket is a much more offensive game than it was back, when I was first starting to be introduced to it. Even way before I started playing it. And nowadays it's kind of turning into 9 ball, and 9 ball's turning into one pocket because they play an awful lot of freaking safeties in 9 ball. It makes me want to just beat people up, but I don't because I'm a lover and on fire. I like the idea of 2 and done, 3 and done, stuff like that, because it can force a person, basically forces a person to play one pocket. You're not allowed to use your offensive superpowers to just try to just mow through and run all these balls, all of them that you need. No, you're allowed to make one. And then it's going to be your opponent's shot. So you need to play some kind of a safety, some kind of a two-way shot at it. And then your opponent is going to have either a limit or not a limit. I could play somebody where I got to stop at 4. If I even run 4, I got to stop at 4, and maybe he has no limit. He's a better player, so he can run 8 balls if he gets the opportunity and shoots well and all that. He can do it. He's allowed to. I'm not allowed to do more than 4. Forces me to not always be thinking about how do I run as many balls as I possibly can. Like I said, forcing me to play one pocket, forcing me to plan ahead a little bit, think about the two-way shots, opportunities I'm going to have, stuff like that. I like the idea for practice. The more I think about it, the more I like it. I don't think that a lot of the top one pocket players that you see out there now in the pay-per-views and stuff like that, I think a lot of them, they wouldn't like it because they feel like, and rightly so, that their main strength, even in one pocket, is their offense. And I'm not saying that that's horrible, that they're really good offensive players. I'm saying they could be missing out on a part of the game that could be really fun and all that. So let them use their offense for 4 balls or 5 balls or 3 balls or whatever. Go nuts. Do whatever you got to do. Then you're going to play a two-way shot. And it better be a good one because it's going to be your opponent's turn next. Nowadays, and I'm guilty of this too, is I will think about a two-way shot or a flat-out safety in one pocket if I don't have an offensive opportunity. A reasonable offensive opportunity. I think you probably know what I mean. The first place I'm going to look is always going to be towards offense. And only when I don't see anything I really like, then I start looking for two-way shots or maybe just a straight-up safety. But this handicapping thing, this 2 and done, 3 and done, whatever, X and done, kind of forces you to think about two-way shots and safety play when you otherwise wouldn't have to. Like I said, today's one pocket, you do it when you have to. You think about those things when you have to. But this would force you to think about it much more often because you have to much more often because you're not allowed to make that 5th ball or 6th ball, whatever it is. You're not allowed to make it. So you better be playing a two-way shot. You better be playing some kind of safety. I like the idea. Nobody ever likes my ideas, but I like it. And this wasn't my idea. This is just something I remember from the olden days. Oops. When dinosaurs ruled the earth and all that. It's something I remember. And the guys I was watching playing it's not like they sucked. And especially the ones in Seattle were playing for some pretty good money. And they were doing this kind of thing. And they would do like, one guy has to stop at 3 balls. His opponent has to stop at 4 balls. That's how they would handicap it. That's one specific case that I remember. Because the guy that had to stop at 3 balls was a slightly better player than the other guy. So instead of playing him 9-8 or something like that, they did just 3 and done, 4 and done stuff. I thought it was interesting. I wish it was kind of still around as an option, I guess, if nothing else for learning opportunities to practice and things like that. I just don't see a whole lot of today's one pocket players wanting to do it because most of them, like I said, know that their offense is their big strength. But there are going to be some that might be the exact opposite. Some of the more older school one pocket players are still playing really well. Efford might be one of those people, Even someone like Scott Frost, really strategic player. Tony can be a really strategic player, believe it or not. They might embrace something like that, knowing that, hey, their best suit might be their offense, but their defense and strategy isn't that shabby either. And maybe like, if I'm playing, I'm trying to think of somebody that you all would have heard of, and there's not anybody. I'm trying to think of a good player that you guys would have heard of. just imagine there's somebody like that. Let's say offensive wise, we're pretty much exactly the same. If we played a race to 109 ball, it'd be 50-50. But maybe in one pocket, maybe I have a slight edge in the moving and the strategy and all that. So sure, we could do 9-8 or he gets the breaks or something like that, because there's not much of a difference. We could also do this X and out thing. Maybe I can do 5. I gotta get him 5 and out or 5 and done, and then I gotta stop after 5. Because, and I might say, yeah, that's cool, because then I get to use my strategy and stuff where I feel like I have an edge on this guy. My offense, I don't have an edge. We're dead even, right? 50-50, raised 109 ball. But in one pocket strategy, maybe I feel like I have an edge. So let's use it more often. Choose it more often. I might be rambling. Wouldn't surprise me. Now I've got this idea in my head about this handicap system. I'm thinking about like the people that I play like here locally, and how we would match up. I know how we match up. Ball wise. Yeah, I give one guy 10-8. One guy I used to give 11-7. I know how that works. But how would it work out with the whole X and done type of a strategy and a system? I'm sure there's a way to do it. And there may even be somebody out there that's older than me, if you believe that shit, that remembers this old way of handicapping stuff. Now, I mostly saw it in one pocket. That was what I watched the good players playing that were using the system. I saw it a couple times in straight pool, mostly for like practice. Me and my buddy, for example, we used to do it in practice. I was a better ball pocketer, so I had to stop at 30, that type of deal. Or he didn't have to stop. I think you could also do it like for 9-ball banks. Maybe 9-ball banks, one guy can bank as many as he's capable of banking, but the other guy's got to stop after 2. Force a little bit of that strategy in there. Make them play a little bit of that strategy, even if they otherwise wouldn't have to. I like this idea. You guys are going to go, man, this old coot has the stupidest ideas, but I like the idea. And I'm not the king of pools, so you guys don't have to worry about it. Yeah.